Good
Good
morning,
morning.
everyone. It is Dr. Vibe, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers. That's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that movement, reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I just say good morning. Welcome to the Morning Vibe on July 13th, 2026. And we still haven't reached halfway in July. And it's, as I'm saying, it's a hotter than July month. Since I have Juiceman with me, I say, got to do the music connotation of hotter than July. And it's the Morning Vibe with myself and Jonathan Juiceman Shaw. What is going on, Jonathan?
Well, hey, so seeing as though you say it's hotter than July, we got to say happy birthday, seeing as though that's the track on the album, as well as All I Do, the two big tracks on the Hotter Than July album by Stevie Wonder. You know what I mean? So,
Wonderful. Wonderful. What's been
It's,
going on in your world?
man, I did a 90th birthday party yesterday.
Wow.
At the Jamaican Canadian Association here in Toronto, and then my aunt, my aunt turned 29, but invert.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a pool party where I was up in Arthur, Ontario, for that on Saturday, and then Friday I was in Kensington Market, old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Just on Augusta. I was doing a commercial for DoorDash on the Friday, where I'm not actually supposed to tell people that I'm the voice behind those things, but yeah, whatever. Okay.
How was the trial? You go downtown more probably in 2 weeks than I do in 6 months. Because see.
And you warned me about gas prices going up after, and I couldn't even get out to go get the cheaper gas, let's call it that. So yeah, gas got up. I think it was well, here it's by the liter, so it was 165, got up to 170 at one time.
Yeah, it's gone back up again.
It's crazy.
Gone back up again, and it's another Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's the way of the world. Another thing, so question before we go to break, and we're scheduled to have Amanda Coombs on, who's running for Toronto City Council in the Humber River Black Creek area. I saw in the green room, and she's back out, so we'll play it by green room, so to speak. Aftermath of Toronto hosting the World Cup, your thoughts?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed just people out there enjoying themselves. Unfortunately, as you know, what happened Saturday, we'll talk about that later if you want to, but I really enjoyed that everybody was just out there partying, having a great time. It was festive. It was, this country against that country. And it was funny to have these two different countries together and polar opposites, but everybody just vibing, having a great time. And one thing that was also interesting, and I think this is something that the world needed to see, is when you think of certain countries, you think that they're 100% white and there's nobody of color there. And you're looking at the teams and you're like, whoa, they got so many black players on that team, and not just like players that were born and raised in these countries. Yes, they have dual citizenship based on their parents and stuff like that, but it was really good to see. But that guy was named Holland, who plays for the Netherlands. People are saying stuff, and again, the conspiracy theories are up. But I'm looking at this guy, and somebody posted a picture of Holland, and they said that, why does he look like somebody, an albino black person? And now I can't unsee it. Like you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you see somebody, you're looking at him, you're like, why does this guy look black to me? But I mean, it's a conspiracy. It's one of those, you know, those, they try to put the AI video and they change it up and whatever. And I saw it, and now I can't unsee it. It's like basically, oh my gosh, there's two singers that actually look the same. Boy George.
Oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Hold on, Boy George and Sam Smith.
Okay.
If you look at their pictures, at a certain age, they look identical, or that they could be related. The problem is that they live next door to one another. So people were believing for a long time that Sam Smith was Boy George's son, but they're no relation. They actually live side by side of each other in England, and they're just, you know, good friends. I would love to hear a record with the two of them. I'd be the first one in line. Like, here's my money, take it. But yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's interesting. I've been hearing some reports now that economically, it doesn't seem that the World Cup met expectations. FIFA got their money. FIFA got their money like they always do. But a lot of restaurants saying and hotels said it didn't bring in the money they expected. And one of the reasons why it was, again, it's expensive to get World Cup tickets. So people weren't coming because they, well, if I can't get tickets, I ain't coming to the hotel rooms. I ain't doing any stuff downtown. Forget it. It's just too expensive.
I think if you got into the business of trying to do something World Cup-ish, then you lost your shirt. If you were a business that normally caters to soccer and soccer enthusiasts, then you saw a spike in business. Because again, it's like anything else in the world. We already know where to go. Like, yes, people from the city, like who are new to the city, are going to come in here and be like, okay, yeah, you know, where do we go? But again, they're going to go to the usual spots as well too. Like, all the watch parties that I was invited to were in places that I already used to hang out anyway. You know what I mean? And they just kind of opened it up and whatever. And a lot of people just basically stayed home or wherever they could watch the game. Like, the community center had the games on. People had it on their phone. I was at a pool party, and literally, as you walk through the house, there was a, you know, whatever TV set.
Yeah, it was all, yeah. What TV set didn't have a game on, right?
Or people had the app on their phone. So you had people, you know, who were out at the pool watching it on their phone, and they say, hey, don't splash my phone. You know what I mean? That type of thing. But other than that, it was very much, you know, the usual suspect type places.
All right. Well, before we go to break, a few people are already in the mix, as you would say. Ray C. McMillan, and I had the pleasure of meeting him up on Saturday. I was actually asked to MC. I was being a juice man. I was emceeing an event called the Caribbean Investment Showcase. He was there. Big ups to Unique Russell, Ray, and Sean, who are the driving Sean DeFreitas, the driving forces behind the event, especially Unique and her husband. Great event, sold out. I was honored to I actually had the pleasure of introducing Ray McMillan. That was a good, and seeing him in action, real deal. He says, good morning, gentlemen. You have to go in the city, Dr. Vibe. It has opportunity and is one of the greatest cities in North America. Okay, Ray. I will follow your direction. I'll see if I can inch myself in there periodically a little more often. But also the house. Go ahead.
Here's a problem. Sometimes you really have to turn off the televised vision and just do what you got to do, because a lot of times they, you know, depending on the news source you watch, they give you the doom and gloom, and they keep making it doom and gloom.
Well, of course, if it bleeds, it leads, right?
Yeah, but the problem is that you stop exploring. And one of the things that I mean, that's a conversation for another day.
Yes.
But if you follow everything that you consume on a screen, you won't do anything. You're going to believe what, like, sometimes it's smoke and mirrors. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, the traffic. Well, hey, don't go. It's like going outside at 12 o'clock when the sun is at its hottest. It's hot. You already know that. Don't go then. Go downtown early. Walk up and down. Take transit. Like, they tell you this a million times over again. Why are you going to drive downtown? You drive downtown, pay the consequences of what parking is going to cost you. Simple thing.
Nice. And Ray, I hear you 150%, but it's just better that again, was such an honor to introduce you during this event. It was really, really, really good. Really. No, it was. The heart was full when I was doing that, because I felt, and Ray delivered. He was fire. The whole event was fire, and it was sold out. And I know there's going to be another one soon come. All right. Also in the house, another person we know, a lady named Emma Ansa. Emma Ansa, News with Purpose. And actually, FYI, Emma and Dr. Tachi are going to be with us on this Friday's Morning Vibe, talking about the challenges of being a Black woman journalist.
Oh, wow.
And it's, again, international conversation. Emma's based here in Canada. Dr. Tatch is based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, US. That is going to be a fire conversation. Don't miss any of the conversations, but how many times do you have a conversation like that? That's why independent media is so important, because mainstream media don't attack that often.
Here's one question for them. Here's one question. When you're on media, how many times does their hair come up in conversation, and how to wear their hair for media? That's a question. That's a question.
Well, hopefully you'll be here on Friday. You can drop that, because I know you are fans of both ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
So get ready for that question, Emma. Get ready for it. All right. We're delayed going because there's so many friends in the house. All right, Ray, the Godfather says, the power of migration, Juiceman, the integration of cultures and geographies. All right. And who else is in the house? C Nurse K. Good morning. Haven't seen you in the comments for a bit, so good to have you. And yes, Emma is looking forward to Friday's conversation. That's going to be good stuff. That's going to be really good. Man, you guys just want us to go to break? No problem. And Amanda's setting up anyway, so it gives her some grace in regards to getting everything set up. The Godfather says, such a valid point, Juiceman. The media can be your best friend and your worst enemy. Agreed. It's similarly, folks, refusing to travel to the U.S. I can share so many positives to being in the U.S. and visiting. Yeah, Ray has been in Jacksonville for a while now.
Big up Jacksonville with the blue bridge that lights up red. If you've never seen it, I mean,
what?
It's beautiful.
Oh, okay.
Big up Jack.
And Emma says, I'll be ready. Well, I know you will be. And people, follow Emma's channel. Wherever Emma is, she has her own channel. And then she's also on the Africa Diaspora News channel. So Emma is doing outstanding content on a variety of subjects that are important to us and people who support us. All right, I think we're going to get to break, and Amanda's been having some challenges, but no worry, we can rock on. Actually, more comments coming. Oh, Ray says, thanks, Dr. It was a pleasure to see you, and thank you so much for hosting the event. It was much more than I could ever imagine. Wow, thank you. The audience was simply amazing, and you were great. Received. Right back at you, man. Right back at you. Thank you so much. On that note, we're going with good energy. We're going to go to break. And when we come back from break, we'll do some housekeeping, and then we'll get right to where we need to be.
Check out Primetime Saturdays with Aisha and Lala.
We're live every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern
With Aisha K. Staggers
and Laura Lala Key,
where we try to make sense of the nonsense
going on in American politics and culture.
You don't want to miss it.
We'll see you on Saturday. Watch Black Canada Talking live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe and Cesar de Mamusa give their takes and POVs on news stories from a Black Canadian perspective.
All right, we're back on the Morning Vibe with Dr. Vibe and Jonathan Juiceman Shaw. So let's do the housekeeping. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. So for those people who have subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't, what's holding you back? Just asking. That's all you got to do. Subscribe and notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join our Discord group. Hold on a second.
You okay?
Now I am. Clear the throat. Do that, mute and clear. And then also to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Indie Soup TV, I mentioned about Dr. Tachi. That's the channel that she programs on YouTube. About 25 to 30 independent content creators. 28,500 subscribers in 2.5 years of operation on YouTube, which makes the channel in the subscriber-wise in the top 4% of all channels on YouTube. Let's see if we got anything else. Oh, yes, subscribe. No, take our 2-minute survey, help power what we do now and in the future. So the link is there. And we'll do one more comment. Yeah, Emma says much good things. All right. We're speaking that Ms. Amanda Coombs is ready. She's been going back between devices, but it looks like she is on par. And I see the smile. So that means she's ready. Amanda Coombs, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. My sister's wedding on Saturday. It was such a beautiful ceremony. So,
oh, congratulations. That's fantastic. Black love. We celebrate Black love here. So that's good. And thank you for your persistency, because I know you were having some technical challenges, but I gave you grace, and we felt our audience was interacting, engaging with us so much that you could finally get everything set up. So we're looking forward to a conversation with you today. Before we get into some real serious questions, and even though this is a serious one too, can you share with the audience a little bit of your background?
Yeah. So, as Dr. Bob just mentioned, my name is Amanda Coombs, and I grew up in the Jane and Finch community. I spent many years in that community, 20 years as a tenant representative. So in that role, I was able to address the needs and concerns of residents. I was able to connect them to much needed resources, a lot of programming for the children. I do come from a psych background, so I finished my undergrad in psych at York University, a university that's located in Humber. And I'm just 2 to 3 classes shy now of finishing my master's in clinical counseling. I also spent time using my degree as well to become a mental health first aid facilitator. And in that role, I've certified thousands of people as mental health first aid across the city of Toronto, equipping them with the skills to help to support individuals who are experiencing a mental health crisis. And it also led me into my role, which I'm on a leave of absence now, with the Toronto Community Crisis Team. So that was also one of my full-time jobs. And in that role, when people call 211, I would respond with my team instead of the police. So it's a non-reactive response for people who are experiencing mental health crisis. Instead of calling 911, you call 211, and someone like myself who's trained in mental health would come out and support that person, whether they were having depression, anxiety, or suicidal thoughts. I've also worked as a CPR instructor with the Canadian Red Cross. In that role, I've also certified hundreds of people across our ward in mental health in CPR and first aid, helping them to become more employable as well. And my baby is Back to Basics Youth Support Services, a nonprofit organization that I launched in 2018 in the Humber River Black Creek community. And we provide supports in mental health, employment, academic supports, and supports for youth who have justice involvement. And this program is specialized for Black youth living in our ward. And in 2023, I received $1 million through the Crime Prevention Action Fund, and I opened up a second location in Scarborough, also for Black youth, where they're receiving that support as well. And I was also teaching some entrepreneurship programs in Beaver Creek Institution to the men that are housed there, just to help them to, break that cycle of poverty when they are released, so that they have the skills to start their own business. So that's a little bit about me.
Do you sleep? Do you sleep?
I sleep on weekends.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask one more conversation piece. I know Jonathan already wants to get into, but I just want to ask you, what moment or experience made you say, I need to run for city councillor in Humber River Black Creek?
Yeah, I think it really stemmed from my experience as a tenant representative. As I mentioned before, I spent 20 years serving the residents, not only in my building, but in the community. So way before I decided to put my hat in the race in 2018, I was fixing potholes in the community. I was giving away tons of backpacks to kids who were returning to school, gifts during the holiday times. As a tenant representative, I was also able to get new elevators for my building, open a gym in my building, get new flooring. And I was just like, if I'm able to do this magnitude of work as just somebody who's a local resident, what can I do if I'm able to get elected at City Hall for even a larger amount of people and for the rest of the ward? And I can really start shaping some policies, especially around affordability, community safety, and supports for vulnerable residents that would really help to help people to have a more positive experience in their lives. So it really started from that role as a tenant representative with Toronto Community Housing, and seeing the impact and the difference that I was able to make in people's lives, not only in my building, but in the Humber River Black Creek ward.
Juiceman, you want to come in? I got lots of stuff, but yeah. And Juiceman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right.
Jane and Finch. The Jane and Finch area, and that area as well, is an area where I know very well. And one of the biggest questions that I have, and I know it's not you, it's more what you dealt with your whole life in that area. And that is, with the amount of people in that area who are willing to make differences and change, why is it when you have people either from the area, people who have grown up in the area, have now reached a level where they can come back and help people in the area, it is so hard to get vetted and approved to come in to speak to the youth of that area? I'll just leave it like that.
I think that that's a great question. And I think that one of the reasons why it's hard to get vetted and approved to speak to the youth of the area is because there's a large distrust. We've seen in the Jane and Finch community, many people come in, they want to do research, they want to sit down with the youth and organizations in the community that are serving youth. And then they take that data and they do whatever they want to do with it. And often the information that they get back, it's used in a negative light. You'll find that it continues to feed those negative stereotypes about the Jane and Finch community. And the Jane and Finch community is so much more than just community violence and shootings. We have a large, rich fabric of culture. Everyone there is like a close-knit family. You can walk in the mall down the street any day and see one of your aunties, your uncles, someone from your mom and pop shop. Everyone feels like family there. And I think really that is what it boils down to, is that we're so tired of this misconception around Jane and Finch and around our youth that come out of the community. And it really impacts the youth in a negative light. My son, for instance, he's faced a lot of postal code discrimination, right? Just because of his address. And he had to literally use my uncle's address that's in a more affluent neighborhood in order for him to start being able to have the opportunities to get jobs. And that is not unique to my son, that experience. So many youth across our ward experience that as well in the Jane and Finch community. So to answer your question in a nutshell, what it really boils down to is mistrust and how that information is going to be used and what light those youth are going to be viewed in once those questions are asked, once the research is done and the interviews are finished.
I came up in the era of the iconic Westview fashion show. You remember that one? Maybe.
No.
You don't remember that one? Okay. I grew up in the era of having the block parties at Driftwood Community Center.
Okay.
I remember people wanting to do so many things in that area, whether it be San Romano Way, going down to Sentinel, going, Yorkwoods Community, Yorkwoods Library, all the different things that used to happen in that area. And then all of a sudden it just stopped.
Yeah.
And how would you bring those things back?
So,
not the fashion show, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I feel like although some of those major events that you just listed they seem to have been historical events in Jane and Finch, like those ones have stopped. We still do have a lot of great events, and I do a lot of collaborations with community organizations in the Jane and Finch community. So you'll find that something that's very common is we have like annual basketball tournaments that bring the youth together. We have that in Driftwood. We have that by Keel and Finch. You'll also find that we have those on the north side and the south side of Jane as well. We also have the Driftwood Community Center that's used a lot for something such as wrestling matches that Tamasha Grant just held the other day. We also have fun fairs, right, and stuff like that. So we do have a lot of events that still occur, and there's still a lot of community collaborations that do take place. But to answer your question, how I would bring that back even on a larger scale is to ensure that that collaboration continues, that there's a lot of community meetings that are taking place where people can kind of work together, because we find often we have some of the same events that are reoccurring. And people are like, oh, where do I go? At 1 o'clock, there's a fair here in Driftwood, and then there's another fair here at Jane and Steele's, and then another one at Jane and Finch, right? And it gets split, like the community gets split. So more collaboration and stuff. And one thing I didn't mention in my introduction is that I spend a lot of my downtime writing grants and proposals so that I can do these events for the community. I can continue to do the fairs, the backpack giveaways, collaborations for basketball tournaments, free mental health trainings, as you mentioned, art shows, fashion shows. Some of the things that I'm getting ready to do, and I do annually, is I take about 80 kids every year to Detroit when we visit the Charles H. Wright Henson Museum, and they get to learn about their Black history and their culture. They get to do a tour of Detroit to see like how gentrification has really pushed some of those places, people out of the community, and the difference between just the city and the low income neighborhoods and the disparity among like the houses and how people are living, and they always come back and they're like, wow, like that was a real eye opener. So on the 25th, I'm getting ready to take 80 kids again from this community. We still have about 15 spaces left. If you have a youth that resides in the Humber River Black Creek Ward and you'd like them to come, you can reach out to me. So I'm always writing grants, and that gives me the ability to keep community events on a really large scale, to continue to make sure every kid goes back to school with a backpack, to ensure at holiday time that people have, gifts that they can give to their children. People get free certifications. There's basketball tournaments and fun fairs and a lot of fun activities for the youth to engage in. And most importantly, experiences for the youth to be able to leave their community, because many of them, when I take them on this trip, it's their first time crossing the border.
or just a simple camping trip like going to Mono Cliffs. It's their first time ever being in the wilderness or hiking and being outdoors and just engaging in nature and the environment. So I continue to write these grants to ensure that my program remains accessible and that we can continue to collaborate with community members. And if I'm elected at City Hall, I will ensure that there is funding that is dedicated to Humber River Black Creek to ensure that not just youth, but residents also, we can collaborate to continue to do great things, as you just mentioned, such as fashion shows and fun fairs and things that the community can engage in.
Speaking of going out to the museum, if you ever need another person to come with you, I've been there many times. My other friend Curtis, I don't know if you know Curtis States. He usually takes a bus.
We go with him every year.
Oh, you go with him? Go with Curtis? Okay, that's my son.
We go with Curtis.
So so that's So if you need another person, hey, I'm here. But that's great work that you were doing, and I'm gonna give you a hand clap.
Thank you so much.
So just do a reset here. We're hanging out with Amanda Coombs, a candidate in the 2026 municipal elections for Toronto City Councillor in the area of Humber River Black Creek. And if you want to touch base with her, there's a phone number, there's an email address, there's a website, there's Instagram. It's all there. And I'll also be sharing that information in the comments section wherever you're watching this live on the replay. I have a conversation piece for you. What are the biggest challenges you see Black and racialized youth facing in Humber River Black Creek right now?
Economic opportunities. They cannot find a job, and it's leading to a lot of our youth struggling and having mental health concerns. I can't tell you how many youth have called me and it's like, I feel like I'm falling in depression. I'm so tired of having to ask my parents for money. I'm 19, I'm 20 years old. I want to have that autonomy, that independence to just be able to go out and get my hair done, my nails done, hang out with my friends without having to, turn to my parents for cash for everything. And I'd love to ease that burden of, my mom or my dad always having to take care of all of my needs. And I was just able to hire eight youth from the community to work with me for the summer at Back to Basics Youth Support Services through the Canada Summer Job Employment Program. But that's very limited, and I'm grateful for that funding that I received. But if I had the opportunity to hire every youth, I would. So that is one of the biggest challenges, just receiving on a day-to-day basis over 10 or to 20 emails with resumes and youth Amanda, you hired my friend, can you please hire me? Can you help me get a job? And just my employment counselor, I work with a great team of people. We try very hard to send out resumes, and we just find that they're just not getting any calls back. And that, I feel right now, for our youth is the biggest challenge. And to follow that up, I would also say community safety as well. We just witnessed 2 shootings that occurred, over the city of Toronto, but one specifically in Humber River Black Creek at Jane and Shepherd, where a young man unfortunately lost his life. And I happened to be there when that happened, getting my hair done at my hairdresser. And I was just like, this is very sad and unfortunate. Another mother is going to be burying their child. So definitely community safety, but economic opportunities for our youth, it's just not there.
I got a quick question, and I don't know if this fits into what you're doing, but at the corner of Jane and Finch, believe it or not, a farm. And if you were to ask the majority of the residents of the Jane and Finch corridor, do you know that there's actually a farm at the corner of Jane and Finch? They would tell you no. And I've never understood why you have a place where you can get organic food, place where young people could actually do farming, learn farming. It's I do believe it's Black run. Why it is so, the apartment building's right there. I've never understood why the masses don't know about it. And it's very, very kept away from the people in that area.
Yeah. So one of the things that's also a common complaint from a lot of residents is that the way that information is shared, often they don't find out about things until like the day of, and they're not aware of all the things that are happening in the community. So that's something that definitely needs to be done more better. Most of our buildings do have screens and TV monitors in the lobby. Being able to like have these events displayed on there, or even have people from our Black Creek Community Farm come out, maybe go door to door to let people know, hey, like we have this in the community. You can come out and get fresh produce. You can even have a little plot here where you can plant your vegetables and things like that. And I find that it's being accessed by a lot of seniors. So the seniors are aware of it, right? When I go out to the farm, I see a lot of seniors with their plots. They're getting their callaloo, their spinach, and their hot peppers and sweet peppers and stuff like that. But one of the things that I've been doing every year is I started a program called Plants to Plate, and it's in partnership with the farm. So I have a lot of parents come out with the youth that come to Back to Basics, and through that program, they get a stipend every week where they get to purchase their vegetables. And then I partner with the local church in the community where we do the cooking classes. So everything that they grow and that they purchase from the farm, they then again get to learn how to make a meal at a very low cost, and they get to go home with that meal. And they also put together gift baskets with the food that they've grown and they purchased at the farm that they can give back to the seniors and other vulnerable residents in the community. So that's a program I've been running for like the last 2 years, and I'm going to continue to do it every year. I put up flyers around the building. We have our youth go out and knock doors to let people know, hey, as you just said, did you know that there's a farm right here in Jane and Finch in your community? And every Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can go out and purchase fresh produce, organic vegetables, and you can even like get a plot to plant your own stuff. You can learn about bees. They have live chickens there. You can get your fresh eggs from those live chickens that are on the farm. And you can also do one of their educational tours and learn so much more about agriculture, right? And farming.
So Dr. Vibe, you don't have to go down to Kensington Market no more.
No, you don't. You don't have to go to Kensington Market.
Hey,
Support local.
All right. Well, I would certainly love to get in contact with you, man, and go out and check that place out if you have time, because I don't know where you get time. I know you're just like, you find it, but you are on point. So a few things, some comments. All right, we've got, okay. Ray says, Godfather, I had the pleasure of hearing Ms. Coombs speak last Friday night at First Fridays. Big up to Warren Salmon, 32 years in. She has a platform. That is what the ward needs. Now we need door knockers to assist her on. He also says the journey of winning the ward, her passion and authenticity, I witnessed in person, and that is what our communities need. I've always said the real impact is municipal politics, grassroots impact. And another person here is saying, vote for Amanda Coombs. All right, well, vote for Amanda Coombs. It's a done deal. Vote for Amanda Coombs. It's a done deal. Like,
I'll continue doing the work.
All right. Somewhat of a personal question here. How did your journey as a young mother and community advocate shape the way you lead today?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. So it always starts from home, right? And as I mentioned before, one of the reasons why I even started Back to Basics was because, I was a young mother, and I had dropped out of school actually when I was 16. And I made a lot of poor choices, and it led to just some really bad outcomes at a young age. I was homeless for a while. I was in a shelter with my son. And when I was finally able to find support to turn my life around, that was through the mentorship of a local pastor. And I remember him saying, Amanda, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish. And he was like, you have a lot of gifts, you just don't realize them yet. And he's like, I see the way that you speak to people. I see the way that, you help the vulnerable people that come into the church. And he's like, you're a good writer. And I'm like, I don't think so. And he was like, well, how about I give you a simple grant application and, you see if you can get us some computers and some stuff so we can start an after school program. And that was like my first grant application that I wrote, and it was successful. And the church was able to start an after school program, and I was able to lead that through Pastor Smith's mentorship. And then he was like, why don't you start a fitness program? And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. And then I was able to do that. And that really was the catalyst that really helped me to learn that, I'm actually really good at doing grassroots initiatives and things in the community. And I was able to return to school. So I went to Emory, and it was a wonderful experience because they had a daycare in the school. So I was able to do my classes and at the same time check on my son in between my classes and on my period breaks. And then through a women's bridging program for like single moms, I was able to get into York University. And I didn't really have a lot of daycare at that time, but my professors, they were amazing. They allowed me to bring my son to a lot of my lectures. And
Wow.
one memorable moment was in my business class at York University where my group, they're like, well, instead of just having your son sit here in the lecture, why don't we just include him? And, he was probably like, I don't even know, maybe 7 or 8 at the time. And he was able to walk through on our presentation and come on the stage and speak a little bit. And I feel like that was a monumental moment for him, because even up to today, he still speaks about it. So I remember, as a young mom, trying to navigate all the complexities of finding a job, of finding affordable housing, of being able to get back into school, how difficult that was, getting mental health support and sitting down with a white psychiatrist that was telling me the reason I was experiencing a lot of anxiety was because I had in red weave and I was trying to identify with Rihanna. And I was like, no.
What?
I was like, no, that's not it. I'm really just trying to navigate all these things, and I'm having like panic attacks and stuff because I'm just feeling very overwhelmed. But I do like her music, but I'm not in no way trying to transform, or I'm having a disassociation or out of body experience, or I'm trying to be like Rihanna. So through all of those experiences, I was like, I really need to start a program. This is when I got older, that I would have needed when I was a youth. So culturally sensitive supports from individuals that look like me, that look like the racialized and Black youth that I serve. Academic opportunities for our youth where, they're not afraid to pursue careers, post-secondary careers where Black people are underrepresented. So I partner with York University all the time to have Black men and women come in to speak to our youth that are in fields where you don't see a lot of Black people, and to say, yes, you could be the next pilot. Yes, you can be the next judge. Yes, I'm a chief of medicine. And the youth sit there and they're just in awe. And, these people that are doing these careers, they come back and they provide a lot of mentorship for our youth. As I mentioned, making a lot of poor decisions and going into Humber River Black Creek, not Humber River Black Creek, sorry, Beaver Creek Institution, being able to partner with some of those men later who have changed their lives around and be like, hey, can you come back and mentor some of the youth that have gotten themselves into a little bit of trouble? Because sometimes it takes somebody who has gone through those experiences to come back and be like, I did 10 years, I did 5 years. It's not worth it, right? So what really motivated me was the lack of supports that were available for me, culturally sensitive supports when I was a youth, and being like, I want to make sure that my son and every youth in Humber River Black Creek Ride-In does not have to go through those difficulties that I went through. And early intervention is so, so important, especially in our community and in our ward.
Well, that's kind of what I was touching on at the beginning, where there's a bunch of people who've been through the Jane and Finch corridor who, maybe they've been incarcerated, or maybe they were a knucklehead going in, back in the, but now they've made something of themselves and they've decided, hey, I want to give back to the Jane and Finch corridor. And as counselor, is there a way where people like myself, I mean, Kofi's still there, there's a whole bunch of other guys in the community, do some really good work. But
Mm-hmm.
okay, we got our vulnerable sector check. We got our police. We have been. We're trying to get vetted. But the thing is, we find that just trying to go and get approved by the Toronto District School Board or even other organizations to go in and speak to youth or be that mentor takes forever. And by the time you get vetted, you know what I mean, a kid who is 12 is now 16 years old, and you've lost them. You know what I mean? They didn't get your words when they were at that impressionable age. So are there ways in which, you know, you can either speed up the process for certain people or certain organizations to come in and really, I mean, not from a collect data standpoint, but just allow people who, you know, even because every kid, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to play basketball. Well, guess what? Basketball is your audition for what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right? It's not forever. And there's a bunch of Toronto basketball players and coaches who would give those kids that message, but now you can't just walk into a school and talk to people anymore. You have to be vetted, and that takes forever. So I'm just wondering if there's a way of speeding up that process, because there's a plethora of guys who and women who want to come back into the community or are affiliated with the community and wanted to say, hey, I'm an OG. Here's some sense. I'm Unc. Here's some sense. Yeah.
So that's a great point. So there, you find there's a lot of red tape when it comes to like things like the Toronto District School Board. You have to be very, very vetted and have your I's dotted and your T's crossed to get in there. And the application process is very long, and it can take sometimes up to 2 to 3 years before you get approved. But Juiceman, what I will say to you is that maybe you're just not speaking to the right people, right? You've mentioned some names. You have Kofi Frimpong, you have Kofi that's out there in Jane and Finch Mall every day selling his cultural items at a very nice price. You have the Black Creek Community Health Center. You have Mothers with Hope. There's so many grassroots community organizations that would love to have you come out and speak. I would love to have you come out and speak to my youth. And I mean, the process would probably only take about 2 to 3 days for you to be able to come out, you know, and pass your knowledge and wisdom down to them. But it's just really with connecting with the right people. Right. There's people and organizations in the community who, like myself, for instance, we have like a strong track record with a lot of the local schools, a lot of the bigger organizations in our ward. And definitely, like, it just takes an introduction and somebody to really say, like, you know, Juiceman is solid, or, you know, Dr. Vibe, like, you know, he's a good person, and you can get in. So let's talk after. Tell me where you want to go, who you need to see, and I'll make it happen.
My stuff right now. My stuff finally, the Toronto District School Board finally it's past their legal department now. But saying not just for me, but for people who are interested in doing it. The process is forever and a day. It is. It's a very tedious process, and if anybody needs support as well with those applications, I can support you. I have a team of individuals that can support you. And just as Juiceman mentioned, if you want to collaborate or come in and speak to youth at any of the organizations in Humber River Black Creek, I've worked with probably every single organization. I continuously do work with them. You can see me, and I can definitely be that person to get you in. One thing that I am 100% against is gatekeeping, right? So I'm your person to get you through those doors.
Excellent. We got some more comments here. Godfather says, growth most times comes through adversity. Most were impactful because the way that through the bumps in the road of their own journey. # vote Amanda Coombs. All right.
Thank you.
Koji Books 60 says, Amanda's heart is entirely for the community. As a dedicated leader and advocate, she possesses a unique ability to truly connect and reflect with every single member she encounters.
Yes.
They also say her impact isn't just immediate, it spans generations.
It does.
And then coming back to Juiceman says, the process sounds slow, but thankfully there are a number of people like you that are there for those 4 years while you get vetted. And also Koja says, from Royalty Helping Hands. All right.
Yes. Royalty Helping Hands is another huge organization in the community. And she also did a partnership with me to help about 10 of our youth publish their own books about like their experiences and their life. Yes.
Why do I smell a documentary one day?
Yes.
Something saying documentary. Have a quiet conversation piece for you. What changes would you like to see how the city responds to mental health and substance use crises?
Yeah.
The Black and marginalized communities.
Yeah. So one of the changes that I will say has been impactful is, the pilot project that I've been a part of from the beginning. I'm on a leave of absence right now, as I mentioned, but the Toronto Community Crisis Service, where it's a non-police response. So when somebody calls 211, we are able to go out and provide them with the mental health support that they need without the police interfering. And we're also able to provide follow-up support for even up to 6 months and give them resources that they need. So I think that's a program that has been working very well. It needs to be expanded into other parts of the city, which is something that I would definitely put at the table or put a motion forward for it to be available to even more residents across our ward in the city. But I do think where the city can do better is to ensure that the people that are on the Toronto Community Crisis Service team, that they reflect the individuals that reside in that community. I remember there was a team that came out to respond to somebody experiencing a mental health crisis at 15 Tobermory. And they were having a very difficult time getting into the building because a few of the residents thought that, they were undercover cops and they were going to come to arrest this individual. And I do believe if the individual on those teams came out and they, reflected the ethnicity of the person and the family that needed that support, that there wouldn't have been so much pushback for them to get through the lobby to get upstairs to support that individual. So one of the things that I definitely would push for is in Humber River Black Creek Ward, communities like Jane and Finch, Jane and Wilson, that the mental health team, our local practitioners, our doctors, that they reflect the people that actually reside in the community, and that they also can identify with many of the experiences that our residents have. We find that it's not that people don't want to reach out to get support from doctors or from mental health care practitioners, but as I mentioned, my experience, when I was living with anxiety and being accused of having some kind of identity crisis, wanting to be like Rihanna because of the color of my weave. Think about how many other people go to the doctor and they get accused of maybe the same thing. There's also the fear of do I tell this doctor, that I'm struggling with depression or that, I'm living with an eating disorder or suicidal thoughts? How is that going to impact my children? Is CAS going to come knocking on my door the next day? Are my kids going to get taken away? Right. So it's really just having people in our community that understand the lived experiences and the trauma that, many members go through on a day-to-day basis, whether it's just from having unfortunate encounters with the police, just through the disparities that they experience on a day-to-day basis when it comes to even our local grocery stores, right? And not being able to get fresh produce or organic products or things that they need for their family that are at a reasonable cost, right? These are things that definitely impact the mental health of so many of our residents. But as I mentioned before, the key is to have people that look like us serving us in the mental health field, our local practitioners, and that understand how our daily experiences shape our health and the way that we receive the support from those people that are providing it to us.
All right. I know Juiceman probably has some more stuff. I'm going to be right quick with some quick things. Dr. Tachi's in the house, part of the leader of Indie Soup TV. She says, good morning, all. And two open hands says Amanda Coombs is not just talking the talk. She is most definitely walking the walk. By your works, you are known. Keep up the great work. Your love of community definitely shows. And since we got some people in the house, I want to say if people are interested, we got a poll. And this is sort of generic, not especially Toronto, but have you ever contacted your city councillor about an issue? So just like to know, so if you'd like to vote, press 1, yes, and they have responded. Press 2, yes, but nothing changed. And 3, no, never tried. So just out of curiosity, I'd love you to vote. Either 1, 2, or 3. We'll be keeping a track on the poll in the background. We also got another person saying, voting for you. All right. You know that person? No, maybe not. Okay, sorry. You know so many people, so you're just like, wow, okay. You know
That
who
looks like my sister. Thank you, sis.
Okay, nice. Juiceman, you want some? I got more stuff. You want to jump in?
Simple question, but maybe a difficult answer. How do you deal with no?
How do I deal with no? Oh my gosh. So I've dealt with a lot of no's throughout my life, a lot of closed doors. But one thing is that you never give up, right? I feel like when one door is closed, there's always another one that's open, right? Just like what you mentioned earlier with being vetted, trying to come into the community to do workshops. Just because one organization says no, it doesn't mean the rest will say no. There's always somebody there that will be there to support you. So when I hear no, I'm a very analytical type of thinking person. So when I hear no, I try to find out why, how come this person is telling me no? And with that information that I receive, try to find ways to navigate whatever that issue may be at hand to find out how I could continue to accomplish whatever task it was that I was trying to. So I don't take no as something negative, right? Hence 2018 I ran. I didn't get the votes that I needed. 2022 I ran and I came in third, and that no didn't mean that I can't continue to do the great work that I've been doing in the community. It just means that I just need to push a little bit harder, look back on maybe some of those gaps that I might have missed, and try to encourage people to really come out and vote, because we have the lowest voter turnout in our ward. So a no means maybe just not right now, but maybe in the future. And it's just a way to explore more opportunities to get whatever it was that I was trying to get done. So a no, I don't take no's. I don't take them. I always try to find an alternate solution or a way to get the job done. One way or another, it'll get done.
One more.
No, take your time, Juice. It's all right.
For the mandem, let's talk to the man. Let's say the mandem are watching the show. And the man them are like, boy, yeah, man, Amanda talks some real truth still, but we not vote, man, because it don't matter who they put in there, not going for them. What do you say to those individuals who, like, literally, those individuals could make you win easily?
Yeah.
Right? How do you get them to vote?
Yeah. So.
And what is your plan this year to get those individuals who are like, nah, man, I'm not vote, to finally just register to vote and to vote?
Yeah. So, you know what? I would say one thing that is different with this time around is that I'm getting less no's and more yeses. 4 years ago when I ran, almost every door that I knocked on, the youth, the adults, they'd be like, I respect what you're doing. You're like a daughter, you're like a granddaughter, but I'm not voting because nothing's going to change. And when you put people in office, they go there and they just do their own thing. They don't care about you anymore, and I don't blame them for thinking that, because when you have put your trust into a system where it continuously fails you, you start to be like, why am I even doing this anymore? So with a lot of the people that I speak to that say that, especially with like the mandem and the youth, I always say to them, like, what do you have to lose then? Right? If you think I'm going to go to office and nothing is going to get done, and you're already giving your vote to somebody that's been doing this for like the last 40 years, then take a chance on me. I look at my track record. I always tell people to do your homework. And when I sit down with a lot of the youth, the mandem, and I tell them, look, this is what I've done. What do you need? Because my phone never turns off. My phone is on 24/7. If I can't do it, I will get the job done. You need a job. What is it that you need? You need help with getting your record cleared. Tell me what you need and I will get that support for you, whether for you or for your family. And you can ask anyone in the Humber River Black Creek community, Jane and Finch, Jane and Wilson, Keel and Shepherd, Weston Road and Shepherd, all of the areas that our work covers. And they'll tell you one thing with Amanda is if you call her, it could be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And if she doesn't answer her phone, she'll get back to you. But whatever your need is, she's going to make sure that it gets done. So I always tell them, just take a chance on me. What do you have to lose? Have you ever voted before? If they tell me no, okay, right now, you're going to sit down with me and I'm going to call Toronto elections and I'm going to get you registered for your voter's card. So you get it in the mail and it's going to tell you where you go to vote. Not only that, but we already have, I don't want to give away too much, but we have lots of transportation lined up to get our youth out. And as I said, I've been doing this work for a long time. So I know a lot of the community leaders, a lot of the older heads that will talk to the mandem and the younger people to tell them, listen, you got to go out and vote. And they're already on board to go pick them up from their houses and make sure that all of these people that, you know, might have some hesitations, that they're making it to the polling stations on that day and doing advance votes on that day. But I really think there's been a shift because people are starting to realize if I don't vote, then I can't really complain. And if there's not people that look like me in positions of power, then they're not going to cater to what my needs are. If there's not people that have the same lived experience that I have, that understand what it's like to have to choose between buying something that's a necessity for your kid or paying your rent, or having to live in Toronto community housing that's supposed to be affordable housing, but when your kid starts working or you get a good job, you're paying market rent now, so it's no longer affordable, or has to know what it's like to not be able to go to your doctor because you're scared if you disclose the things that are impacting your health, that it's going to affect your job at your workplace or your kids are going to get taken away. You need people that understand that to be in office so that they can advocate for those things for you, because I've been there, I've lived it. I want a better community for my son and for my family. And the same things that are impacting you have impacted me or are still impacting me. So those are the things that I'm going to position. Those are the things that I'm going to fight for, and to make sure that when I get to City Hall, that I'm not just saying I'm going to do these things, but they're actually going to be actionized. Because so many times you see people saying that, oh, when I get to City Hall, I'm going to do A, B, C, D, but then they just join the collective. And I'm not afraid to be that one person to be like, no, it doesn't matter if 20 people are voting yay, I'm the one person that will vote nay. It doesn't matter if I don't believe that that's a motion that should be passed that's going to impact the community. So really somebody that's going to stand up for what they believe in, regardless of what everyone else is saying around them. And once again, I'm not afraid of no.
So forget Councillor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that guy. I'm that guy. So remember this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
8 years from now,
Mm-hmm.
the Coombs, Mayor, Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I put it out there. End of discussion.
I receive it.
Okay. Amanda, how much more time do you have comfortably have? Because there's a lot of engagement going on in the chat right now. People are loving you.
My morning is free. My morning is free.
Okay. This is good. This is good. We got some things going on. So let me just do a reset here. We are hanging out with Amanda Coombs, who is a wonderful secret that I'm finding out more and more about. And she's a candidate in the 2026 municipal elections for Toronto City Councillor, Humber River Black Creek, hanging out with Jonathan Juiceman Shaw and myself. So let's catch up on some comments. The Godfather says the importance of racially appropriate and sensitive meditation and intermediaries. This is a very important need in our communities. Community policing should require police in the hood. Anonymous says, vote Amanda Coombs, City Council, Ward 7, Humber River Black Creek, October 26, 2026.
Clock it.
Another one first says, she has my vote. I like this. Amanda don't sleep on anything. She does the original Google chat, GPT, and Claude. She has the answers for results. I love that. Also, from royalty to helping hands. She's not douche. So saying she's not new to how she's true to it. Okay.
Yes.
Wow, the comments are coming like crazy now. Jane and Steele, Jane and Finch, Jane and Shepard, Jane and Wilson, Keel and Steele, Keel and Finch. Isn't it Finch? All those places. All right. Another one person saying here, Amanda has passion for her community. And then someone saying Amanda Coombs' team would love to connect with you. With who? That's the question. With who? Here is an interesting question from our good friend Dr. Tachi in Fort Lauderdale saying, how much of an effect has the political situation, in the U.S. had an effect on local Ontario politics?
Oh. I would say that it definitely had a large influence. The whole thing with the current, president over there, and with tariffs, and it definitely impacted me going to the States last year and the fear, that the children had of crossing the border and things like that. So we've seen that a lot of the issues, the major issues that we've seen around, some of the stuff that Donald Trump was pushing for, and some of the racist ideologies, surrounded that. And we've seen how some politicians kind of have used that kind of same ideologies for certain things that were happening in our community. And then we also seen the impact of how it was affecting politically, things such as like food insecurity in our community, immigration, that's a huge one, newcomers, supports for our newcomers in Humber River, Black Creek. So I would say it did have some type of an impact on the political landscape in Toronto, but not too heavily, thankfully. Yeah.
I know Jonathan may want to jump back in, but again, we are doing a poll right now saying, have you ever contacted your city councillor about an issue? So far, 40% say yes, and they've responded. 20% say yes, but nothing changed. And 40% said no, never changed. So if you haven't voted yet, please vote. So it tells a little bit interesting that there are people who have never tried to contact their city councilor. So the poll is still running. We're running in the background. So if you haven't voted, please, we'd love you to vote. Juiceman, you want to continue? Because I always got things to ask.
Simple question with regard to, I know there's a lot of things that you can do as a counselor, but what are some of the things that people within the community believe are under your jurisdiction, but they're not? They're either federal or provincial.
Oh, God. So some of the things that people have asked me to do, for instance, is like lower the cost of what do you call it? Condo fees. And that's something that I cannot do. There's a lot of condominiums in our ward. We have like Four Winds. We have a few other condominiums in the Grand Ravine area. And that's something I cannot do. I've had a lot of people reach out. I cannot lower condo fees. Those are like provincial issues. Some other things that people have asked me to do as well is to take care of like the classrooms, right? And the concerns around like the teacher ratio to students and the resources that are going out to the school and all of the changes that are being made with the trustees and stuff. Once again, that's something that I can't do. That is a provincial issue. I've had people reach out to me to ask me if I can, speed up their immigration process. I do have like an immigration lawyer that I work really close with. So I have been able to help a lot of people receive their citizenship and stuff like that through helping them to complete their applications in an accurate format. But that's federal. I cannot help your family come here faster from the West Indies or to help their PR application go through any more timely than the regular process. So these are like the top 3 common questions that I get.
Right. So just want to reach out. If anyone does want to contact Amanda, her phone number is there. The email address is there, voteamandacoombs@gmail.com, website voteamandacoombs.com, Instagram _Amanda.Coombs. My next conversation piece for you is, what does an equitable Toronto look like to you at the municipal level in regards to housing, policing, transit, and youth opportunities?
Housing, policing, transit, youth opportunities. Okay. All right. So in regards to housing, one of the things that we see happening in our ward and in the Jane and Finch community is gentrification. So, once the LRT went up, the prices in our grocery stores, the prices of our rent started to go up as well. We need gentrification to work for us. It's happening. We can't stop it. I've attended so many community meetings, and, one of the things that's in place right now is the demolition of the Jane and Finch Mall, right? And then the Yorkgate Mall, and they want to put condos up, and they're making all these promises that, don't worry, like, we're going to ensure that even though the mall is being demolished and it's going to be a condominium, that at least the first floor of that condominium would be community would get first dibs so that they can still have their stores. But we know that with gentrification, that it pushes people out of the community and it causes the cost of living to go up. Connections. If you go walk past Connections right now, that's just right by Fir Grove, it's an overgrown field of grass. And I speak to so many of the residents there who have been displaced. Some of them are in Regent Park, some of them are in Scarborough. And not only did they lose their homes, but they lost a sense of identity, their neighbors, their belonging, their community. So we want to ensure that, when condominiums are going up, that there's also affordable housing going up as well. We want to ensure that there's units in these condominiums that are also offered at a low rent base, so that people can also afford to live in them as well. When I sat on the board for Toronto Community Housing, one of the things that I advocated for was a grace period for individuals who are working, who have a child who's working, because immediately once that happens, their rent jumps to market rent. And when I was on the board, I put it forward all the time, like, can we just give a grace period, even like a couple years, so that that money from that new income, they can actually sit down, save that money, and then maybe put it down towards a down payment for a home, right? But when you are in affordable housing and then all of a sudden you get a good job and then it goes to market rent, you lose the ability to be able to save. So we definitely need more affordable housing in order to have a more equitable, Humber River, Black Creek, Ward 7. And we also need larger units. So we find a lot of the family sizes have increased over the years. Many people have 3 to 4 or 3 to 6 kids that are living in 2-bedroom. I met a lady at San Romano Way a couple of weeks ago, and she was like, Amanda, can you please help me? I have a 16-year-old, a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old, and I'm in a 2-bedroom. I gave up my bedroom and I'm in the living room now so that my kids can have some kind of privacy, but I can't afford what they're charging for a 4-bedroom. There's no way I wouldn't be able to survive. So we need more affordable, larger units. There are thousands of people that are waiting on Toronto Community Housing's wait list, other subsidized housing wait lists. And the minimum wait now is like 10 to 15 years, for you to be able to get a unit. So we definitely
How long?
10 to 15 years for you to get a unit. Yeah. And there's that niche, that prioritized listing, but the criteria, it's so small. You have to be in an abusive relationship. You have to be a member of the LGBTQ2+ community and experience in some form of harassment or abuse. You have to have a terminal illness, or you have to have witnessed some type of trauma or community violence, and you're not feeling safe anymore. That's the criteria you have to meet in order to get prioritized in housing and to get fast-tracked. And a lot of people don't have a police report and they don't meet that criteria. So they are waiting 10 to 15 years. So we need to have policies in place where when developers come in, we are advocating and speaking up for larger units in these rebuilds and the community housing developments that are going up, but also larger numbers of bedrooms in these apartments. And to really ensure that if we're saying that we are building affordable housing, that there are policies in place to make sure it remains affordable. right? Another thing to make it more equitable as well is that with Connections, I did a walkthrough of that complex, and there were birds flying through people's apartments. There were holes in the hallway. There was holes in the floor, literally jumping over holes to walk, grass growing out of the hallway. And I had to think, like, why did this complex get so deplorable that it had to be torn down completely? There was no way to save or to renovate this unit. It was a complete loss. So we need to ensure that repairs are done timely. We also need to ensure that maintenance is being upkept. Superintendents, building management is being held accountable so that no other family has to be displaced. So we need affordable housing, we need timely repairs, and we need accountability. That's what matters when it comes to housing. When it comes to policing, so we find that there's a mistrust in the community when it comes to police officers. But one thing I think, especially in the Jane and Finch community, that has been working well is that some of our community officers, they've grown up in the community. They're familiar faces, right? So a lot of the youth and the families, they trust those police officers. The officers, you don't only see them when there's an act of community violence, but they do come around and they give out slushy cards to the kids so they can go get free slushies at our local gas station. They come out at events. You see them playing basketball with the kids on the court. They're very active in the community. You can call them if you need to collaborate, if you might have a funding gap, or you need some more resources, and they're there for you. So I think that in order to continue to make policing more equitable, we need officers that are from the community, that are familiar faces and that people trust. We need officers to attend more community events and to get more familiar with the community. And we need to ensure that when they are responding, to acts of violence or to mental health or anything, that they're doing it in a way that's still the person still feels dignified, and treating them like they would like to be treated as well. And just removing any type of anti-Black racism, discrimination, any preconceived notions or biases that they might have about the community, about Humber River, Black Creek, Ward 7, or Jane and Finch, from their mind before they come into any interactions, and more training in mental health for our police officers in Humber River community, Black Creek community, Ward 7. That is definitely needed to make this right and more equitable when it comes to policing, more training. When it comes to transit, so we have our lovely LRT that we had to stick around with huge traffic jams for many, many years until it was done. And I've rode on that LRT. And when I was taking the kids to the 905 Raptors game in Mississauga, and I'm telling you, we could have walked faster to Humber College to get on that train. Then the pace that the LRT was moving at, the youth were like, "Oh my gosh, miss, this is so slow. Like, why do we take this way?" So there is a disparity in between the speed of the LRT in our community in comparison to the rate of how fast the LRT moves in other communities, which is something that I think needs to be looked into as well. And making transit more affordable as well. So even reducing the cost of our tickets for our youth. It would be nice to have days where, youth and seniors can take the TTC for free, maybe not on so much of the busy days where there's high traffic, but even on a Sunday, maybe on a Saturday. But definitely looking into why the LRT is so slow, why people are complaining, why they don't want to use it, and why is it more faster in other neighborhoods, and ensuring that the cost for our Presto tickets, Presto cards, that they remain affordable and low so that people can get through the days that they need. This is kind of connected to transit because I've had a lot of seniors reach out to me. And I know this doesn't fall municipally, but sometimes we have to work together, different levels of government. But a lot of the seniors are facing a barrier when it comes to them being able to go to their doctor's appointment or to go out to get groceries because a lot of the bus sheds have been taken down. So therefore, they're waiting on family members to give them a ride. So I've had a few seniors from 5 San Romano, they reach out to me and say, can you get the bus stops back up, especially at the corner of Jane and Finch where we have to stand and wait. If you could get a bench there and if you can get a shed back up, because the elements of the winter, of the rain, it's really hard on our bodies. And it's taken a toll. And sometimes we just don't even go outside. There's nowhere to sit and there's no bus shed. So that's something that I've heard you, I've heard the seniors, I've heard the vulnerable residents. That is definitely something I plan to advocate for. And in terms of our youth, the last but not least, because they have a special place in my heart, that's why I started Back to Basics Youth Support Services. We need more jobs for our youth. So I'm appealing to any organization, any company that might be listening right now. If you're doing hiring, please reach out to me. Like the youth from our community, they're amazing. The 8 youth that I just hired, many of them have faced, postal code discrimination. They haven't been able to get a job, but I was so happy to give them a second chance. And a lot of the youth that I hired, they were young Black males. And when one of the youth I met when I was walking outside of Yorkgate Mall, and I gave him a flyer. He was 18 years old, and I said, "Are you going to vote?" And he's like, "Maybe. What I really need right now is a job." And he's like, I got myself in a little bit of trouble, but thank God, that charge was dropped, and now I'm just looking for a second chance to be able to, prove myself and to, make right decisions. And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, then show up tomorrow and let me give you an interview." And let me tell you, the youth, the younger children love him. He was like, "Miss Amanda, I don't know, if I'm going to have the patience to deal with younger youth and stuff," but he proved himself to be a great youth worker. Just amazing problem solving skills. And, I would love to keep him on, but the funding is just not there. So, these are youth that are crying for jobs, that are saying like, I don't want to get caught up in the streets again. So any job that's out there and they're willing to do anything, I'm just asking, if you can reach out, not anything, but they're willing, they're very flexible when it comes to the type of job they're willing to do. It could be retail, it could be a forklift operating job. They're open to it. So when it comes to our youth, we want to see more economic opportunities, not just factory jobs. If you walk through Jane and Finch and through Humber River Black Creek Ward, you'll see a lot of signs for, temporary warehouse jobs, but we want to see jobs that can lead to, good careers and proper and decent pay. We also want to see for our youth in the community more opportunities for them to be able to, engage in activities, to be able to travel, to be able to attend camps, to be able to go across the border. We also want to see a reduction in crime. So often we say that, the reason why the youth are engaging in community violence is because, they need more sports, they need more basketball, they need more soccer. But at the end of the day, we have to get down to the root cause. Like, what is causing these youth to want to pick up a gun or to want to fight an individual, want to stab an individual? And when I sit down with a lot of my youth and I hear their stories and they're telling me like, "Amanda, it's really hard. I witness a lot of domestic violence at home," or "Miss, can you please send me some money? I'm at work right now and I'm hungry. I haven't ate since yesterday and I feel like I can't stay on the floor anymore. Can you please send me some money?" Or another youth telling me like, "I really want to buy a bed. Like there's this bed, it has LED lights, miss. Is there a way you can write Amazon and maybe see if I can get that bed? Because right now my mattress is on the floor. I'm not knocking my mom's because she doesn't have the money, but I really like an LED light bed." So these are the things that I hear on a day-to-day basis. And we just need to make sure that there's more resources for youth so they don't feel like they have to go out and engage, in these activities in order to try to get some money to support mom at home or to support their dad or their younger siblings. We do need more opportunities for them, because when I sit down with my youth and they're telling me these things, I see how it's not only impacting their life on a day-to-day basis, but how it's impacting their mental health, right? And that's a big thing that we provide at Back to Basics is free mental health counseling through other Black organizations who are therapists, who are counselors, and who are doing that work with people that look like them from their community. These are the things that our youth really need to thrive. A recent project that I did was we did a renovation to one of our spaces. So we turned it into a barber shop and a salon. and a nail booth, so people from the community can come and get their hair done at a reasonable cost by our youth. So it helps to build their entrepreneurship skills, and they also get to earn income at the same time doing what they love and what they're really good at. So we have Tanae, who is our local barber, and she cuts hair at a very low rate. She'll do your eyebrows for $3. She does her fades for about $8, a full haircut for about $15. And we have Prisca, one of our youth, who does hair braiding under $100, whatever style that you want, whatever length, under $100. And then we have Joanne, our youth that specializes in doing nails under $20. So please come out and support our youth. The other day I was at James Cardinal McGuigan, and I was doing a presentation. One of the youth told me that she does hair, but her parents are complaining about the traffic coming in the house. So if you're one of those kids and your parents are telling you, stop bringing strange people in the house and doing hair in my living room, doing hair in my kitchen, I don't want it anymore, you can come and use our styling chairs, our hair products, and everything for free. Anytime from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., the space is there for you. So if you're one of those youth and you need a space to get your hair done and to make your money, you can come out to Back to Basics Youth Support Services. So that's kind of
Wow.
a bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me just get some more comments here. Two Open Hand says, a great empowered person who is always empowering the community. Hashtag vote Amanda Coombs.
Thank you.
Anonymous says, thank you everyone for listening and attending. Amanda Coombs appreciates your support. Please share campaign information with the loved ones in Ward 7.
Yeah.
Godfather says, listening to Amanda speak, particularly around housing and gentrification, the platform is solid. And that's coming from a man who knows. How can the community help get you to sit? Well, I'll get to that because we didn't finish it. She's got time, but I'm glad she took a glass of water. Someone's saying, I'm not saying to saturate, it still happens in Ward 7. I experienced this with my sons as a single mom in my last apartment in Ward 7 for 3 years. They were doing illegal things and refusing pest control and maintenance.
Yep. Yeah.
And then someone said, someone asked here saying, I thought these laws were against slumlords. So what's going on with that?
So the thing is, and you've probably seen this a lot in the news the other day, that a lot of the laws that are supposed to protect tenants, they're working to protect the landlords, right? And a lot of times people think that their only right for civic engagement is just voting, but way before the polls, you can come together with your neighbors, with your residents, with the people at the building, go to the tenant and landlord board and put forth petitions to say that, you know what, our building has been dealing with a pest issue, with a rodent issue. We're not going to tolerate this anymore. Contact your local news station, your local newspaper, get that information out there to let them know. So for instance, a lot of you have seen that pothole video online, and shout out to all the people that I meet on a day-to-day basis that have been talking about the video and sharing my platform points and things based on that. But that building, San Romanoway, 25 San Romanoway, they were dealing with that pothole since March. People were complaining, oh, my car's getting damaged, my tires are getting damaged, my shocks, and Greenwind Property Management didn't want to do anything about it. That pothole continued to get larger and larger and larger and larger. And, I know that it's on private property. Yes, I'm responsible for the city streets, not for driveways, for private building. For all of you that are contacting me online, I'm quite aware of that. But if a resident reaches out and tells me, Amanda, can you please help us with this issue? I'm not going to say it's a federal issue or a provincial issue. No, I'm going to try to find a way to get it done. So I partnered with Sanchez, Ontario. That's a company that goes around and fix potholes around the city of Ontario. City of Toronto, and I was able to get that through the advocacy of that video. And I had put on the time on my timeline that we were coming out to fix it the next day. When we showed up in the morning, the building fixed it overnight. Right? They didn't want the shame. They didn't want the shame and the disgrace. Literally, I showed up and I was like, what? They had to have done this like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. So advocacy does get the job done. When you bring attention to issues that are happening in your building, the landlords will respond because they don't want that negativity attached to their name or attached to their business. So you can still do your civic engagement even before the polls open by advocating for the things that matter to you, and there's strength in numbers, right? Talk to your neighbors, talk to people in the community that are experiencing the same issues, and then come and see me. Come and see me, and I will help you to get that job done.
Wow. Wow. Now, Alicia says Amanda's been actively serving and supporting in our community for many years. She has the heart for the people. Also says, vote for Amanda also.
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia.
Godfather has a question, has a few. I know self-care is like a new catchphrase, but how do you manage your own inner peace while being the go-to person for many of the community's needs on a constant, ongoing basis?
Yeah. So I think it really boils down to doing what you love. And this is something that I tell my youth too. I'm like, don't just do it for the money. The money is important, but you also want to do something that you're passionate about, because then it won't be like, oh, I got to get up to go to work, or, you know, I wish I didn't have to do this job anymore. But for me, this is like who I am. You know, it's in my DNA. It's a part of me. So it never feels like work. But the way that I actually balance, and plus I have my background is in mental health, right? Clinical counseling. So I have a lot of strategies and things that I do for self-care. So for me, I love spending time in nature. So on the weekends when I have some downtime, I love going for like scenic drives. Up north, I'll go out to a farm, spend some time just being around some of the animals, being around nature, and then spending time with my friends. Right, we'll go out and do karaoke, or we'll just like sit down in a park, have a barbecue, and we'll just vibe. Right, I have like really good support from my family, from local community organizations. Some of them that were online, Open Hands, that does great mental health support, Royalty Hands, book publishing company, Alicia Rowe, Mothers with Hope. So I just really connect myself to like-minded people, and I can't do what I do without the support of my team, my volunteers. So I have really great people holding my hand up, right? And if they weren't holding my hand up, on many days my hand would fall, but they're there and they're pushing me. And I'm only as great as the leaders that, you know, shoulders I stand on, and the people that continue to support me on a day-to-day basis. So I always take time to wind down. When I come in, I'll like, you know, soak my feet, put on a Netflix film, and I'll just chill out. And I always make time for my youth. So, you know, they re-energize me and regenerate me. So before I go out campaigning, I usually will stop by Back to Basics and like, Miss, you haven't been here for a week. You haven't been here for a couple of days. And I, you know, get their hugs, get their support. And they help to re-energize me. So really spending time for self-care, what that looks like for me is spending time in nature, going for walks, spending time with loved ones, and just being around my youth. I love my youth. Being around them, that really, you know, fills me up, and being around my family as well. So like my son, one of my biggest supporters, he's busy, he works a lot, and he's in school, but, you know, he also keeps me motivated and pushes me as well to just keep going, don't stop.
All right. Anonymous says Amanda has recently been driving around the ward reporting broken street lights, which are a safety hazard to the community. Yes. Another person here advocating for Amanda. Another person here, great topic. Good morning. Yeah, well, we got a good. Jan also says, I agree. Self-care is essential to decreasing health issues.
It is. Absolutely.
Juiceman, you've been marinating for the last few moments. Anything you want to chat about? I got a few more things. I could keep Amanda on all day, but I feel honored because we're getting a slice, because it seems that we got to the front of the line for a few moments.
Yeah. And Juiceman, there's some big lot of community organizations online right now as well. So you guys, he needs to get in. He needs to do some workshops. Reach out. Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I don't mind volunteering, and I don't mind collecting money as well too, because I don't even have a full-time job yet. But that's a whole other conversation. With regard to you though, there's one thing that bothers me, and it's I don't know if it's something you can fix, but you talked about gentrification, and I've seen it, and you mentioned an area of town that that I know very well, and that is the Regent Park area.
Mm-hmm.
And 15 Bellshaw Place is where my grandma lived. And then she
Yeah.
moved over to 700 Dundas.
Yeah.
And now 700 Dundas is 698 Dundas that has a condo in front of it.
Yeah.
And if you're from the Regent Park area, Shumack area, you will drive through Regent Park not even recognizing that you're in Regent Park anymore.
Yep.
And all those people are displaced. That's one
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
If you're on Islington Avenue, right by, let's call it, what's that place called again? Bergamot.
Mm-hmm.
There were the condos along
Yeah.
the area that
Yeah.
took 28 years for them to replace
Mm-hmm.
due to asbestos. And it took them 28 years to put it there, and they look exactly like the ones that were there before.
Yeah.
Haven't really thought much of it. Dawes Road, they got
Mhm.
fined $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, it took 30 years to do that for one area to do. We have the Jane and Finch corridor. We have all these different things that, as you said, are somewhat being gentrified.
Yeah.
But there are people like yourself and others who are working in the community on a daily basis. Why isn't there, and we've seen it happen in other places in the world, where the history of the people who have helped Jane and Finch become what it is in a positive light are not highlighted with either a park, a plaque, or a walk of fame?
Yeah.
Question. I don't know if that's something that comes under your jurisdiction, but I'm just saying there's nothing there right now. Or maybe there is, I just don't know.
No. So that is so true. So we find that a lot of the new developments or the streets, for instance, they're named after city councilors, right? Or they're named off of politicians. But, you just brought up something really great, Juiceman. And once elected to City Hall, that is definitely something that I'm going to advocate for. We have great community leaders, people like Butterfly, that's doing a lot of work around social justice. Anna K. Brown, that does a lot of work around social justice. People who have really helped to transform, some of the issues that have been impacting the community in a negative way that I feel would really deserve to have their name highlighted. I think we should have parks, we should have developments, parts of our streets, buildings that are going up named after a lot of the community leaders, reflecting the hard work that they've done in the community. And that's something that I definitely would put forward, and something that I probably will try to put forward even now, even before I got elected. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's something that actually has not crossed my mind yet, like recognition for those who have paved the way for us in the community around, stopping gentrification, around policing, housing, youth supports, food insecurity. I really do feel that they do deserve some type of recognition, historical, long-standing recognition within the community. People like Mr. LaRose, Mr. Jane and Finch. Yeah.
Like there's even, like, I'm just even thinking about the stars that you have on an international basis, where you have, Luther Brown, and you have Luther Brown Jr., who's in Hollywood, Jay Blaze, Joylene, one step up doing the dancing out there, as well as, Julie Black is Jane and Finch and reps it to this day. Plus all the other, again, I'm going to bring up Kofi again, but all the other individuals who have Zola, all the other people in the community who've been doing things.
Yep.
And you know what? Even some of the aunties who made sure that the kids had lunch or money for like breakfast, in the morning, stuff like that. Like, there's no recognition for those individuals. And now you're going to take their places that they did those things in, and you're going to demolish them without having any sort of history to show the youth, hey, my grandmother did this, my auntie did this. This is where we used to live, type of thing, But that's just me.
No, I agree with you 100%. And one of the things that I am fighting for is to stop the demolition of Jane and Finch Mall. Like, we need to preserve that. That's history. That's a community staple. That's a meeting space for so many people. Our mom and pop shops are there. This is where we come out, we gather, we support, we have our conversations, we strategize. So we really need that mall to stay in place. But that would fall underneath me, Juiceman. So one of the things that, as I said, I'll start advocating for now is, like, why not have a walk of fame? Why not have our own stars, on the street to recognize, like, some of our community leaders, like Kofi and some of the names that you just mentioned? Definitely, that's something that I'm going to try to see to get done and to stop, I know gentrification is going to happen, but if there's ways that we can definitely advocate for some of the historical staple pieces in our community to stay, then let's do that. Yeah.
All right, more comments here. Charmaine says, advocating for Amanda Coombs.
Thank you.
You brought the people out today. And Alicia says, what about for the community leaders? We talked about that. Charmaine says, Amanda fixed a senior home ceiling that was flooding his home, and she got it fixed within a couple of days. Unbelievable. Two Open Hands says, Lawrence Heights is facing regentrification, is as awful as going through revitalization. Oh, Elisa says the community leaders do most of the work. Godfather says, as a real estate investor in multiple locales, gentrification is not going to go away. Prime lands are scarce in every major city. The approach or the focus should not be trying to stop it or prevent it. I know he's got something else he wants to add, so we'll put that on in a moment. Okay. So let me ask you something.
Yeah. And that's true. We can't, sorry, to that guy's comment, that's absolutely true. There's no stop in gentrification, but we want to ensure that while gentrification is taking place, that it's working for us, right? So the mall, I understand it's going to get demolished, but that's something I really want to advocate for, is to stop the mall from getting torn down. But we also want to make sure that people are not getting displaced and affordable living can still exist while gentrification is taking place. So I'm not saying I have the power to stop it, but I do have the power to make sure that the jobs that are going to come out of this gentrification, the redevelopment, the building of the LRT, for instance, that went up. And they said that a percentage of the jobs were going to go to youth and to, people that resided in the community, that those stuff actually happen. The buildings that are going up, that some of the jobs go to our local youth and go to the residents. And number one, that the people remain in the community. They're not scattered throughout Toronto. So you're absolutely right. Gentrification is going to happen whether we like it or not, but we need to make sure it works for us, not against us.
One quick thing, again, in the Jane and Finch area, I remember way back in the day, they used to be like a Canadian Tire. Now they've demolished that. It's going to be another condo across the street. There was the bank and all those other buildings over there. That's gone too. My dad actually used to live at Weston Road and Finch in one of the apartment buildings. Now, my question is, with all these condos, with all these things that they're building, where are you gonna buy even a patty? Like, where is it? Like, what I mean? Like, there's no, like, if you're gonna take down Jane and Finch Mall, right? That used to have main shop back in the day. That used to save me when I was working up the street up at Western Road and Steeles. What about, and York Gate Mall is going to be demolished as well too. Those are two major hubs where people would go to buy food, clothes, whatever. Where do they now go? Like, I'm just trying to think of that area. What's the, like, are they going to go all the way down to Keele and Finch to go get something? Is that like to the Walmart? So now here's what you're doing. You're taking people from owning their own businesses in the area of Jane and Finch, making money, recycling the dollars. Now you're going to force them to go to Walmart. Like, because that's the only thing I can think about over at Keele and Finch that's anywhere close. Yeah. Maybe you're better than me.
Well, that's one of the things that's very concerning, Juiceman, is because with this gentrification that's happening, you're pushing people out of the community, not just people, but businesses as well. And we can keep that money in the community, keep these economic opportunities in the community, but now people are going to have to go out, as you mentioned, oh, well, I'm going to have to open up a store in Vaughan, or I'm going to have to go to the east side to be able to start my business again. And, oh, well, there's nowhere locally, as you mentioned, where I can grocery shop anymore, where I can get a quick meal. So I'm going to have to commute, take transit out of the community or drive out of the community in order to get these things when I could have just walked across the street. Right? Or it could have been like a 5-minute drive for me. So these are some of the negative side effects of gentrification and things that need to be considered when you're redeveloping these our neighborhoods, Jane and Finch, for instance, and some of the other neighborhoods and community spaces that you've mentioned. Sit down with the residents and understand how, you know, it's going to impact them, but not just listening, because we have developers come into the meeting, into our community all the time. They give everyone sticky notes. They spread out papers across the walls. What do you want to see? What do you hope to happen? What would make this an equitable build-in opportunity for you? And they take that information and they do what they want to do anyways, right? So that accountability needs to be there. I know there's no policies in place to hold developers accountable. So if they said they're going to hire 15% of people from the community to be part of the redevelopment process or to do the construction work, or if they said that they're going to ensure that, I don't know, 60% of the units remain subsidized and these things are not done, there's nothing to say, okay, well, we're taking you to court, or you broke this policy, or this was a legal binding agreement. So people feel like they can come in, developers, and just do whatever they want to do, essentially, because they're not held accountable, you know, after these condominiums go up, which is really sad. I've sat in so many of these meetings. I sat in a lot of the meetings as well for connections.
Okay. So Ray has, in 4 sections, completed his last message. So we want to go through each one of them. He says, so we started off with, as a real estate investor in multiple locales, gentrification is not going to go away. Prime lands are scarce in every major city. The approach or the focus should not be trying to stop it or prevent it, but how to participate in the process as a stakeholder and change the mindset from gentrification to withinfication. I like that. Mm-hmm. The focus has to be on understanding the development process and having a place at the table. I know it is difficult for longtime residents, but that change is the only constant. We have to get geared to income development, and that is our focus. I am for the mall to be saved, as it is a community staple.
Exactly. And that's one thing that I'm protesting about, advocating about. I don't want that mall to go down. The community doesn't want that mall to go down. As I'm knocking doors every day and canvassing, that's one of the main things. Amanda, can you save the mall? We need that mall to stay.
Okay. We'll only keep you on for a few more moments because I know you got the whole morning, but you do need to get rest.
Yes.
So a few quick questions for you to close out. So how are you engaging residents in your campaign, especially people who usually felt left out of political conversations?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've been doing, especially while canvassing and going door to door, is, as I mentioned before, letting people know that, you know, they actually, as that gentleman just mentioned, they can do their civic duty and engage in civic engagement by being at the table, right? Being part of some of the issues that are impacting them, maybe in their community, in their homes, in their buildings, with their families. So these are the issues that are concerning to you. Come and join us. Come and help us. You could be one of the go-to people on the team that can be part of the issue that has to do with affordable housing or food insecurity or supporting seniors, vulnerable residents. You all have a special place that you can play on the team. And I find that as we are canvassing and we're meeting people, that those issues that are important to them, they like to join our team to be able to sit down and help find solutions to those particular issues that are impacting a lot of the residents in the community. So you can definitely do your part by joining our team, and then you can find your place in the political conversation. right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, I need to be a part of like City Hall, or I need to run for a particular position when it comes to the municipal elections, but just by supporting your community, supporting the people that live on your street or in your building with the issues that have been impacting you. Because everybody has great ideas, right? And we can put those ideas together to form long-lasting solutions.
What does a stronger, more connected community practically look like in this ward on the ground day to day?
So on a day-to-day basis, just to touch on like some of the points that I went over before, a stronger connected community looks like more opportunities for our youth, as I mentioned before, so that youth feel supported, they don't feel left out, they don't feel like the focus is more so on like the adults or on affordable housing or food insecurity, but that their feelings are being validated as well. There's more, economic opportunities for them. There's more supports for them around being able to find careers. Academic supports with youth who have justice system involvement, so they don't feel like they no longer have a chance to change their life because, there's an X on their name. More community collaboration, so more organizations working together to get the job done. Municipal, federal, provincial government working together to ensure that the needs are being met for the community at all levels. We also want to see as well community leaders. Many of the community leaders who are online right now, we're all collaborating to do community events, working together for the same good, for the same cause. So really, just everybody coming together and really joining hands to ensure that, we are working towards the same goal and we're united and not divided. We always want to be united and not divided. We work better when we work together than when we work apart.
What kind of counselor do you promise to be? Accessible, present, responsive, or something else? How will people be able to reach and hold you accountable?
The same way that you reach me right now. So I'm always accessible. If I'm not accessible, there's always someone on my team. I'm connected to many of the lovely community leaders who are online right now. Mm-hmm. And if you can't hold me, normally if people can't get a hold of me, they'll contact one of the ladies or men that are online right now, and they're able to get me through that way. I also remain very transparent as well. So anything that happens behind the scenes, anything that we're doing in meetings, that's public information. We share that as well. And you can hold me accountable. If I say that I'm going to do something, I will get it done. As I go door to door, one of the things that I tell our constituents is that I don't make promises that I can't keep. So if there's something that I know I can't deliver, like lowering condo fees, I'm not going to tell you so that I can get your vote that once I get elected, I'm going to lower condo fees. If I know that's something that it's not a municipal mandate or under a municipal
jurisdiction.
Policy. Yeah, so I wouldn't promise something that I can't do, and I will remain trustworthy. Like, I have a proven track record. I've been doing the work for the last 20 years as a resident, and I want to do this on a larger scale now. I want to do this beyond the Jane and Finch and Jane and Wilson community. I want to expand the great work that I've been doing here across the many different neighborhoods throughout Ward 7. So I'm hoping people can do their research, and that I've earned their vote based on my track record and my resume.
When you're elected, I was going to say when you're elected, what are your top 3 priorities for the Humber River Black Creek in your first year on council?
So my first year on council, my top priority is definitely affordability in Humber River Black Creek community, Ward 7. We want to ensure, that there's affordable housing for people. We want to ensure that the food insecurity challenges that many residents are living with, that gets reduced as well. People are connected, as we mentioned, to our local farms, that the food, in the grocery stores, that's a provincial issue, but, that they also remain low. Cost of living also remains affordable. People don't have to travel out of the community because of gentrification to be able to go to a local grocery store to get clothes, right? Or to run into the mall to grab something for their children or for their home. Another thing is, as I mentioned, housing, right? To ensure that housing remains affordable, that there's larger units for families, so we don't have people with 5 kids living in a 2-bedroom, parents sleeping in a living room. We want to ensure that the buildings that are going up, the condominiums, that there are spaces reserved in those units for the people that live in the community and they're not being displaced, and that local businesses, our mom and pop shops, that they remain here. They're not getting pushed out and closed down. So affordability, number one. My second priority is also our youth, right? As I mentioned, we've seen the shooting that tragically took the life of one of our youth at Jane and Shepherd just a few days ago. We want more stuff that works on early intervention. These are all social determinants of health, right? That also lead to community violence, issues of poverty, which is the root issue. So we want to make sure that youth are getting the mental health support that they need. They are not being discriminated against because of their postal code or where they live, that they're given fair opportunities, and that, you know, they have the opportunity to thrive where they live, and that they're not condemned because they made a mistake when they're younger, but people are opening up the door for employment and to give them the chance to turn their lives around. The third thing is support for our vulnerable residents. So, like, you know, our seniors. Our seniors in our community are a huge part. They've helped to build our communities. They've helped to build many of the legacies and the great work, you know, that has continued to take place today around other vulnerable residents, such as people with mental health and addictions. I cannot tell you how many families, when I'm canvassing and I'm going door to door, that are telling me, you know, that they have a son who's addicted to heroin, or a youth that's addicted to cocaine. And in some of the residential neighborhoods where people are complaining that they're finding like needles around the playground and around the parks where their kids are playing. So I really want to make sure that our vulnerable residents are getting the support that they need, culturally sensitive supports, that there's programs that are helping to determine why that youth or that mother or that father started to use that substance in the first place. Because once we get, as I mentioned, it's always going to go back to the root issue. No, that person didn't just get up one day and decided that they started using substances, that they wanted to turn to alcohol to fix their issues, or they wanted to start smoking weed every day, or use cocaine and things like that because it was something they wanted to do. They're trying to cope with something, right? That's a coping mechanism for the problem. So helping to resolve those problems and finding safer coping mechanisms that won't have a negative impact on their physical health or their mental health. So those are my top 3 concerns: community affordability, support for vulnerable residents, which is also linked to our support for our youth. And it all boils down back to they're interconnected to community safety.
Juiceman, anything you want to end off with? We got a few more questions, but you've been quiet for a bit. I just want to know if anything you're wanting to add in before we start winding it down.
I gotta jump off soon because I got a recording session to do.
No problem.
Amanda, I'm gonna put it out there, and I don't do this often, but if you need a voiceover or any of that sort of stuff done, just come call me and we'll get it done.
Thank you so much.
All right, Juiceman, thank you so much.
Even if it's just your voicemail or whatever phone system you use that says, hey, Amanda Coombs, push 1 now. You know, for donation, push 2.
I will reach out. I'll reach out. And let's get you in talking to the youth in the community.
Yeah, I already sent you my contact information and my number while we were doing this. So
all right. Yeah,
I salute you.
We'll talk. Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, I wish you both peace.
Thank you so much.
All right. Peace. All right. You got some time, so we still got people to reach out. It's been fantastic. And first and foremost, thank you for taking your time.
Yes,
that's been fantastic. So we still got more comments. Don't want to deny the people. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, Ray said, correct, Juiceman. Canadian Tire at Western Road was my go-to when I lived at Jane and Wilson.
Yeah.
Alicia says, save them all. Also says she has a proven track record. She has amazing people that follow through, and she's able to do it. Okay. Godfather says, I heard other counselors speak at First Friday. Miss Coombs stood head and shoulders above the rest. Her ideas are clearly articulated, and her love for community is quite evident to your success. Anonymous says affordable cost of living and housing, supporting vulnerable residents, community safety. Godfather also says postal code discrimination is a real thing. I experienced it firsthand when I first moved to Toronto in the 1980s.
Still exists.
Yep. And okay. Ray has some questions. So let me get to, here it goes. How does someone who no longer lives in the GTA but believes in your agenda could perhaps offer benefit to your campaign from particularly in the area of housing policy and such issues?
Yeah. So Ray, please give me a call and sit down with me. Like, we welcome any suggestions, any recommendations. We have people that call us on a day-to-day basis. And I think this will really help build your platform, when it comes to policing or when it comes to vulnerable residents. So we welcome the feedback. We welcome suggestions, recommendations. So please, it doesn't matter. And I am going to keep saying this. You don't have to live in Ward 7 to be able to help the campaign. We need at least 100 more volunteers, right? They doubled the ward. They doubled the ward in 2018, and it really was a setback for residents like me that, come from low-income neighborhoods to be able to afford to be able to put signs up in double the ward to campaign and to canvas. So we want to ensure that, people that reside in Humber River Black Creek that understand what it's like to experience the challenges when it comes to transit, affordable living, living with vulnerabilities, policing, that we are in City Hall to advocate for people that look like us, that live in the ward, that understand the challenges that impact ourselves and our families on a day-to-day basis. And we can't do that without volunteers, right? We have double the ward to cover, so we need as much volunteers as possible. And you do not have to live in Ward 7 to volunteer. We have community meetings, team meetings every week. We can bring you up to speed with the issues that are impacting the residents. We could bring you up to speed with what needs to be said at the door, some of the things that I've accomplished in the past and the things that I plan to work on, so that you know what to say when you're speaking to the residents. It doesn't matter. You can live in Ajax. We want you. London, Ontario, come on board. And even if it's just an hour you have a week, we're grateful. We'll take that hour. So Ray, please send us your email, and I'd love to hear what you have to say when it comes around to affordable living and housing. Please.
And I think you've answered this, but he put this up, listening to Amanda speak, particularly around housing and gentrification. The platform is solid. How can community help you get you to City Hall? Give us 5 asks from the community to get you there. So I think you gave them all right there.
I have 5.
Go for it. Go for it.
So we need volunteers to come out and help us knock doors. We need volunteers to help us with fundraising, because we can't run a campaign without money, right? Signs are expensive, flyers are expensive. The things that we need in order for visibility, signs go up the end of this month, right? Toronto Elections gives permission for front lawn signs to go up as of the end of this month. One of the things that you can do to help us, if you would like a lawn sign, it would help if you could cover the cost for the lawn sign. I know it's unconventional. Usually the candidates have to cover the cost, but if you could give me a call and be like, you know what, Amanda, I would love to have a sign on my lawn. I'm willing to pay that $25 for the sign. That would help us a lot too. So you can help us fundraise, help us canvas, cover the cost of a lawn sign, help us with visibility when it comes to bus stops. So every couple of days we replenish the bus stops, we put up our flyers. That's number 4. We need people to help us with putting up flyers around Ward 7, Humber River Black Creek, because it's a huge area to cover. And the last one, number 5, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your families to vote. Let them know if they don't vote, do not complain. Let them know their vote could be that one vote that I need in order to beat the incumbent and to get myself to office. And that their one vote is like 1,000,000 votes, and that it's truly appreciated. Spread that knowledge to your neighbors. Let them know the importance of voting. Speak to your neighbors, check on your neighbors, your families, your local businesses, and just whenever you're in a bus stop, encourage someone to vote. I can drop some flyers off to you. You can hand them out if you live in Ward 7 as well. You can help us by
after
handing
all
out the
this,
flyers.
you had the 5 ready to go.
I
What?
Yes.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Last conversation piece. When people hear the name Amanda Coombs 5 years from now, what do you hope they associate it with?
Oh my gosh. So 5 years ago, 5 years from now, when people hear the name Amanda Coombs, I want them to associate it with true leadership. I want them to say, especially the youth, to say, you know what? I want to be able to run for city councillor, especially the young girls, the young Black women in the community, to say, you know, I want to be able to be somebody like Amanda who's transparent. You know, she really had a heart for community. She continues to do the great work. She continued it as a resident, as a youth, and she's still doing it as an adult. And I want people to remember that I truly have the heart for the people, you know, and you never forget where you come from, right? Often people, they make it to politics and then they turn into this whole different person. They don't remember the grassroots. They don't remember the people who got them to office. They don't remember the people who helped them on the days when they were tired, who were knocking doors with them, who were collaborating with them. I want people to say, you know what? Amanda hasn't changed. She's still the same person she was from day one. Even though she's in office, you can still sit down with her in Jane and Finch Mall, because 5 years from now, it'll still be there. And, you know, you can still have a meal with her. You can still, you know, talk to her on a day-to-day basis. You can still get her when you answer the phone. So I want people to remember me as like just a down-to-earth person who has a heart for community, who's transparent, and just really wants to see the best for the youth coming up and for the people that live there, and a community that's thriving, where people are able to support their families, where people are able to have true opportunities, and where people get recognition for the work that they're doing, especially all the lovely community leaders online and the organizations that have got up early in the morning to be part of this wonderful conversation on Dr. Vibe.
Thank you so much. The comments are still coming in. Another one say, also, if you have youth in your family or home, Amanda will provide volunteer hours to volunteer.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, so if you have youth, they can get their hours, right? And we also have gift cards that were donated that we give to the youth that come out and volunteer, right? And we give people meals after, right? So you could get a hot meal before you go home. Come out and knock some doors. And not only that, but we're a great team to work with. You'll have a lot of fun. We do appreciation celebrations for our team. We're doing karaoke this Sunday. You can join us and meet us there at the Epiphany.
Okay, what's your favorite karaoke song?
George Michael, One More Try.
What? Okay. All right. Family Diary says, go Amanda, the realest to ever do it. Also says, genuine soul, woman of God.
Thank you.
Godfather says, Dr. Vibe, please arrange a conference call with myself and Ms. Coombs so we can be introduced. I will do that. And also, Masoy Village supports you 100%.
Thank you. Oh,
Godfather says, such a great conversation. You have to give Ms. Coombs a regular spot to continue campaigning on the Morning Vibe until October 26th. Well, the person from her team that I've been communicating with, we already have another call, another conversation arranged later on in the campaign. So this is not a one and done with Ms. Coombs. If she has time for us.
I always have time. I thank you so much, Dr. Vibe, for giving me this platform to be able to share about the work that I've been doing and that I plan to continue to do. 5 years, 20 years, beyond now.
Well, I have to be totally open. I don't like this transparent. I like simple words. Like Jane Finch understands open. Transparent, that may be another word for another community. But I didn't know you were able to spend this long. So we are happy and grateful that you did. And we learned so much about you, your heart, and your passion, and so many others here. And thanks for bringing some of your posse on, because they love you. They love you lots.
I love them. I thank God for connecting me with such great destiny helpers. Like, and the one of the things for all of you that are online that are part of my team, I thank God for you every day, because if I'm not at the door, I know that you're not telling people your own ideologies, but it's like I'm talking to that person myself. You guys speak with passion. You've known me for 20 plus years. You know who I am, and I appreciate you for standing behind me and for telling the people at the door who I am, and for coming out and knocking every day, you know, even when you're tired. Yeah.
Right. So as we start wrapping it down, there's Amanda's contact information again. It's also in the comments section on most of the platforms you're watching this live. On the replay, let's close it out. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Blue Sky and Substack. Join our Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the dr, VIBESHOW.com, or hit that link to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of. Email me. Also, help shape our show going forward. There is a link. It's also, again, in the comments section if you go through it. Let's see. Someone else has something to say. Now it says Amanda's team is made up of residents who have witnessed her good work on the daily. There you go.
Yep. And some, a lot of, yep. And some of the volunteers are people that I've helped with so many things that they need to resolve. And they came back now to say, I want to give back, Amanda. I want to give back. So thank you. Appreciate you.
No problem. Jonathan, if you want to get a hold of him, Jonathan O. Shaw, that's JONATHANO Shaw.com.
Someone from the team, take it down. Take it down.
What?
Thanks. Oh, no, just asking my team to take it down.
Okay. Yeah. Also, you can catch Jonathan live on the Talk About on Flow 98.7 Sundays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern. Go to flow98.7.com. Ryan Knight, you can catch him at RyanOneilKnight.com. That's Knight with a KN, not an N. You can find out more about me. Go to taplink.cc/the drvibeshow.com. Also, you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and the website, the drvibeshow.com. And finally, we had a survey. Let's get the final results. Have you ever connected with your city councilor about an issue? Final results, 50% said yes, and they have responded. 17% said yes, but nothing changed. And 3, no, never tried, 33%. So that is our poll of the day. Fantastic. So this is how we end off things on the Morning Vibe. A long but worthy morning vibe this morning. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger, block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better.
Love that.
Yeah, thank you so much. God bless. Peace, well, keep the faith well good. And Ms. Coombs, we are going to be chatting with you some more offline.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that joined the conversation. Have a blessed day.
And if you tell other people to watch the replay and subscribe to the channel, be well and keep the faith.
I will definitely be sharing the link. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.